All right, yet another Guillermo Canales movie that he sent me in that huge unboxing. If you guys didn't watch that fucking unboxing where he sent me like 49 films, literally, um, it's incredible. I mean, just the shit that he sent me was remarkable. But anyways, he sent me The Bunker, which has some of the worst cover art, and I was like, dude, but there's something about this. I don't know. I was like, you know what? With this shitty of a cover there must be something in here, because I just don't see him sending me pure trash. I just don't see it happening. He likes very interesting, unique films, from what I can see from his taste of what he sends me. He likes stories to be unique, and I'm a big fan of mixing war with horror. I think it's a great combination, since obviously, as I said before, war is the ultimate horror on earth. So they kind of they kind of marry together very well. And this one, when I put it on, the cover is terrible, right? Or the artwork is cheap, anyways. And then when I threw it on, it said it was brought to me by MTI Home Video, which is like the lowest level quality releasing production, whatever those guys, whatever you call those people, distribution house, I think is what they are. Anytime I see them, I'm like, oh man, I'm about to watch the cheapest piece of shit ever. It's like asylum level for me. Anytime I see MTI, I'm like, oh no, not an MTI film. You know, it's like the opposite of A24 for me, where I see A24 and I'm like, oh, I'm going to be in for something really interesting. Anytime I see MTI, I'm like, oh, fuck me. But I have to say, I was pleasantly surprised to be wrong by MTI. Now, while this film is lower budget for sure, there is a lot of familiar faces in here, and they're not just cameos. They're like main characters of the movie. The amount of like memorable, like noticeable actors, like recognizable actors in this was fucking remarkable. I mean, we're not talking like some star-studded cast. It's not like fucking The Outsiders or something where I'm seeing Emilio Estevez and Tom Cruise, and it's not like that. I'm just saying, like, there was a lot of really cool actors in this, whether it's Jason Fleming or Eddie Marson or whatever, or even the little post office kid from 1408. It was just like, oh, I know him. Oh, I know him. Oh, I know him. And like fucking, as I said, Eddie Marzan, awesome, man. To see him, I love that dude. And anything I see him. And then Jason Fleming's really cool as well. And then even the dude who plays Norrington in the Pirates of the Caribbean movies is one of the main characters in this as well. So the cast is pretty, pretty stacked, and the talent is really, really good here. And this is kind of just the exploration of like the horrors of war and the guilt and just kind of the ramifications mentally and whatnot of being in something like this. And while the horror in this is fairly light and it's more of just kind of like a character study and as I said, more of like an exploration of what I would think they would have considered as shell shock back then. But also with like superstition. This is a cool film. Like if you're into films like Death Watch, if you like films that are set in that World War One, World War Two, and they go into this bunker, and they're kind of surrounded on both sides. Like the Americans are coming. These are German soldiers. That's another thing. This is a really bizarre twist here, is that the characters in this movie are all Germans, which I was blown away by. I was like, holy shit, we're not following Americans, we're not following like the British or like the good guys. We're supposed to be following these, Nazis. We're supposed to be following the bad guys here. I don't fucking want to watch these pricks. But, these are just guys, and they're being told to fight this war, and they're scared and they don't want to die, and they're trapped in this bunker, and they don't feel like they have a way out the front, and then they're told about these tunnels that are very sketchy, and they have like stories behind them, that's they're going to be their only escape. Now this film does remind me of a bunch of films that I have seen, but I still think there's enough going on here that I thought it was pretty cool for a super ultra low budget film that no one's ever heard of and has a pretty damn good cast to it. So, you know, if I could only recommend it to people who are really into like World War II horror movies, that don't mind a smaller budget, and are pretty familiar with cinema to recognize the faces in this movie, because they ain't Tom Cruise. This isn't some super well known actor. They're more character actors that you see here and there if you're paying attention to film. So yeah, I dug this. This was cool flick, and this was cool flick. This was a cool flick. I swear I had that A in there. I just said it really fast so it made it sound like I was like Borat or something. This is cool flick. But anyway, yeah, I really did like this. And so we've got Devil's Gate, The Bunker, and then of course The Wailing, which I love. Before you ever sent it to me, but two films that I never heard of. Actually, I think I've seen this cover before, but I always looked at it like, that looks like shit, dude. There's no way. But thanks to my go-to guy here, I was steered correctly again. So, and we don't always agree. I mean, he sent me The Other Side of the Door, which I thought was shit. So it's not like you're never gonna match up with anybody 100%. That's just not gonna happen. I don't care who it is. I don't care. Even the closest guy I've ever had in my life matching up to, and we have movies where we're like, dude, what are you talking about? That movie's shit. And he's like, what are you talking about? It's fucking awesome. Every once in a while this happens. So, but for the most part, I seem to at least see what he sees in movies. So much so that I'm willing to revisit The Other Side of the Door. Like, that's how much I appreciate his view on films at this point, where I'm like, all right, maybe I missed something. Maybe there's something unique there. It's not high on my list of the movies he sent me. Let's say that for sure. I'm not rushing to that one. Okay, we'll wait. I got plenty of things on this side of the door before I get to the other side of the door. You know what I mean? But yeah, World War II, cool flick. Check it out. Thanks you, Guillermo. Goodbye.